Well, hello internets, here we are with a little bit of a video. Once again, I'd like to share something that I kind of thought would make an interesting vlog. And yeah, here we go. Well, you know how you're working at a job or whatever your source of income is, and your life is going okay. You've managed to make ends meet. You've managed to balance things out, sometimes cutting back on groceries to pay the utility bill, or cutting back on the utility bill to buy groceries, or cutting off your cable so you can afford a cell phone, or whatever you've done to balance things out. And all of a sudden your boss comes along and says, hey, we're going to give you a 25-cent an hour raise. Thanks boss, that's great. 25 cents an hour is wonderful. Thanks for giving it to me. However, it puts you up into the next tax bracket. So essentially you make less now an hour than you did before receiving the raise. Well, if you're one of the lucky ones that when you do get a raise, it doesn't bump you up into the extra tax bracket, and you're making more an hour. It might only be $20 a paycheck or something, but at the same time, that's $20 more than you had last month or whatever. So you think to yourself, well, if I bank that $20, then in a year I'll have X number of dollars, or 2 or 3 years I'll be able to buy a couch or something. But 2 or 3 years comes and goes, and there is no new couch. Well, you think to yourself, where did the money go? Whatever your situation is, however you got your money, whether you worked for it, whether you won it in the lottery, whether it was an inheritance, whether it was some duffel bag full of money you found on the side of the road and decided to keep it. One day it'll all be gone. One day it'll all be spent. One day you'll be down to your last few dollars, and you'll think, well, what did I spend it all on? You can never have enough money. You always spend it. The cost of living increases with the increase of the money you're bringing in. No matter how you try to budget your money, there always seems to be more month left at the end of your money. And just when you think you have things figured or balanced out or on a roll, then you open up your power bill and suddenly it's gone from being $175 a month to $320 a month, and nothing has changed. You have your studio lights off all the time, unless you're in here filming a vlog. When you're editing your video, you have your dim lamp light on, so it can't be, having the bright lights on 24 hours which are never on, that's costing. You've cut off your cable to make ends meet. You've downgraded your cell phone. You've downgraded all sorts of stuff. You've started buying cheaper food, canned food, cheaper food, high sodium food that's not really good for you, just to make ends meet. But suddenly ends aren't meeting anymore, and it's not like your cost of living, your personal spending has increased in this case. So you get looking at the bills, and sure, you may have used $40 in power, but they'll charge you $80 distribution fee just for that power line that's been hanging on that pole for the last 40 years that's been well and paid for. In my life, the cost of living has gone up. My cost of living has gone down. My cost of living has gone back up. A few years ago, my cost of living dropped a lot. I know it cost a lot to drop my cost of living, but at the same time, it was one of the best things I ever done. I just wish I would have done it years earlier, because I'd be this far ahead now, that far back, right? But hey, that's how we learn. You know, if a person were to win the lottery, could he live on his current current monthly budget, or would he let the lottery winnings go to his head and start buying things he didn't need? I know for myself, if I won the lottery, there's people in my life that I would take care of. I'd make sure they had a decent vehicle. I'd make sure they had a place to live. I'd make sure their rent was paid if they chose to stay renting. If they needed groceries, I'd make sure they had a substantial credit at the grocery store so they could order in groceries or go get groceries themselves if they still had the ability to go get groceries. Because when I needed them the most, needed somebody the most, they were the only ones there for me. You know, could I live on a lottery winning, hypothetically speaking, and not blow through it before, you know, the end of my life, kind of a thing? Maybe buy a small house, like we're talking small house. Maybe make sure my bills are paid for, buy myself a vehicle, you know, like I mentioned in an earlier vlog about a small house in a small town. But at the same time, you still want to make sure you're around services that, well, that you need, you know. And then when push comes to shove and you're down to your last dollar, what do you do then, right? You gotta start selling things, losing things, having things repossessed because you have a $2,500 a month mortgage payment because of your overspending. You look at people who have no income or a very small income, whether they're living on the streets or whether they're finding their own way of income. You know, their needs are met, whether it's through programs in their communities. You know, at the end of the day, they sometimes have a place to sleep, whether it's under an overpass or in an actual shelter itself. Sometimes they get a hot meal, sometimes it's just you know, something they find to eat to survive, kind of a thing. And like I mentioned, through my life, I've had jobs that paid me, back when minimum wage was low, like $6.50 an hour, and I've had jobs that were like, I think it was like $21 an hour. I know I never peaked, I never hit the wage that I should have been getting. If things were better and I could have got on a better track, maybe took some of those chances that I wasn't willing to take, maybe my income would have been better. Maybe I could have had things paid for, or maybe I would have hurt myself many years later or earlier and ended up in the same place I am right now anyways. Sometimes in life we are given gifts. Sometimes in life we are given things. Sometimes in life we just have to take what we have right now and be grateful that we have what we have, because sometimes we don't. There are others out there that don't have what we have, and you think your old couch or your old flat screen TV is bad. You want to get a new one. There are people that don't have a couch, people that don't have a flat screen, you know. They're living in a simple, empty type apartment with like a folding chair and a tiny little tube TV from like the 90s. And they seem to be quite happy, you know, in their situation. You know, they're living in their means, whatever their means are, and making ends meet from month to month. And they're probably actually better in the long run than those that are in an insane amount of debt. But a little bit of an idea that I have floating around in my head, you know, sometimes Sometimes in my life I think on how to make extra money. Sometimes in my life I look at things and you know, maybe if I sell this, I can make an extra $100 this month, but at the same time, then what would I edit my videos on? Or hey, if I sold my table, then I'd have $40, but then hey, what would I eat my supper on? Or you know, and then if I sold my TV, then hey, what would I watch my YouTube on, right? And things like that. We evaluate things and we try to make things work, and we're given our life to be our life, and it's what we make of our life, I guess, what matters in the end. And money comes and money goes, but it's how your life goes is what really truly matters. But thanks for joining me on this here vlog. I guess it is what it is, and around we go. And as always, thanks for watching, comment, subscribe, and enjoy.